So the first thing we obviously need to do is talk strawberries. So I have got some strawberries here, and you want to cut about 6 cups of strawberries. Now, since this is a fresh pie, I'm just having some of the bigger ones, and then I want to leave any of the smaller ones whole. They're going to stay nice and beautiful and kind of hold up the shape of this pie. Then when you cut in, you get a whole little strawberry in there. Ugh. Absolute dream. Okay, this is looking good. I've got about 6 cups in here, but now we're gonna work on kind of, for lack of a better term, the kind of strawberry goo that's gonna hold everything together. It's kind of like super jam. So I've got a pot over here, and I'm just gonna add in 1 cup of sugar. Just plain white sugar is gonna be perfect. So this is kind of sort of similar to making jam, but we really want this thick. You don't want it too kind of soupy. You want it to really hold everything together to give this pie shape. So into there, I'm gonna go in with 3½ tablespoons of cornstarch. Now, what happens with the cornstarch is as it cooks and mixes everything together, it gets really nice and thick and gloopy, kind of. Almost like the filling of like a lemon meringue pie. That's kind of what we're looking for. So don't lose count, Mary. We're live on TV. That was 3. Everyone keep me honest. Half. There you go. Now, this is the most annoying measurement, I'm not going to lie, because 3½ tablespoons is just shy of a 1/4 cup. But a 1/4 cup I found made it a little bit too firm. So this is absolutely perfect. All right, give that a little bit of a whisk together. And I always mix my cornstarch into my sugar first, because otherwise it tends to clump up. And you don't want little clumps. That'll leave kind of like a funny little texture. So give that a whisk. Looking good, very exciting. And into there, I'm gonna go in with 2 cups of those strawberries. So just loosely measure them out and pop those right on in. This is gonna bring that strawberry flavor into that kind of gloop that's gonna hold everything together. And I want to give this a mash. This is the only other time, other than mashed potatoes, that you're gonna bust this thing out. The bane of my existence anytime I'm opening my utensil drawer. How is it always just like, nightmare. All right, so give it a little bit of a mash. This is honestly probably one of my favorite things to do. It feels like you're ruining everything, but it's all gonna come together. But you just wanna mash this up. This is something I like to do as well when I'm making jam, because you wanna get that pectin started. You wanna get those berries nice and kind of jammy. And as you can see, it's already getting a little bit jammy looking. So give that a bit of a tap. Then I'm gonna go in just with about a 1/2 cup of water. That's gonna loosen everything, bring it together. So I'm gonna add that right on in. Give that a bit of a stir. And then you wanna put that over medium heat. Now, bring that up to a boil. And while it's coming to a boil, you need to give it a stir pretty frequently. Because there's so much cornstarch in there, it tends to kind of almost turn into a gelatin at the bottom of the pot if you don't stir it. So give it a stir every once in a while. You just want to boil that for about 3 to 5 minutes. That kind of pinky milk color will cook off. It'll become clear and jammy and absolutely beautiful. So while that starts doing its thing, we're going to chat pie dough over here. Am I going to ask you to make pie dough? No. I am not. I'm gonna ask you to go to the freezer section in your grocery store. There's something about a fresh strawberry pie where I want the pastry to not necessarily be flaky. I want it to almost be sugar cookie texture, like a little bit more tender, a little bit more like a strawberry shortcake kind of situation. So all I did was go to the handy dandy freezer section, buy one of those, bake it according to what the box says. I'm not gonna tell you, listen to the box, it's gonna be fine. So you wanna bake that off like blind baked, so it's nice and done. And then we're gonna work on our whipped cream. Now, for any sort of pie that you wanna maybe top in advance and pop in the fridge, or maybe you're having a summer party and you want a good stable whipped cream, I have got a trick for you. So first up, we need 2 cups of whipping cream. This is not a recipe where you can skimp and use a lower fat percentage. You need to use at least 35%. If you don't use that 35%, basically there's not enough fat to protect the protein in the dairy to expand into those bubbles. Basically, you would just end up with frothy kind of situation. But what happens when you whip cream is the fat kind of goes around the little bits of air that you're pushing into there, giving you those beautiful bubbles. But to give that fat and that protein a little bit of help to stretch out, like you know when you're blowing up a balloon and you do the stretchy thing first? I'm gonna give you a tip on how to do that with your whipped cream. So into there, if I'm doing like a classic whipped cream that I want really soft, I would just add some icing sugar, but we're gonna add a secret ingredient. So we're gonna go in with vanilla instant pudding mix. I know. It sounds weird. The only really reason I buy this is specifically for whipped cream. This is gonna give a little bit of a vanilla flavor, but you want 3 tablespoons of that. Now, if you do not have vanilla instant pudding mix, that's fine. You could also do this with skim milk powder. Skim milk powder, again, it adds a lot of protein into there, giving that little bit of extra kind of wiggle room for that beautiful whipped cream to hold its shape. But pudding has flavor. Pudding is delicious, so just put it in there and it's gonna be good. All right, now, but since that pudding does have a little bit of sugar in there, I'm gonna go in with just 2 tablespoons of icing sugar. If I was doing skim milk powder, I'd probably add in maybe 4, just sweeten it to your taste. So add that on in. Now, there is a little bit of vanilla flavor already from that pudding, but I'm gonna go in with something a little fancy. We're gonna go vanilla bean paste. Yeah, I'm not telling you to buy a vanilla bean, because I'm not buying a vanilla bean. Vanilla beans are like $8 for one. I'm like, no, no, no. But this stuff is really great. You get those little speckles in that whipped cream. You see those little bits of kind of vanilla seed in there, which is absolutely beautiful. All right, I'm gonna start this off actually with a little bit of a whisk. Oh my gosh, first try. Sometimes I open the drawers and I'm like, I don't know where anything is. All right, give that a little bit of a whisk together just to start things up. If you're feeling extra athletic, you could do this all by hand, but I would switch to a hand mixer. Now, for the hand mixer, anytime you're whipping cream, I always like to do it on medium speed as opposed to high. You'd think that high will get it whipped up quicker, but the medium speed, again, helps just slowly blow up those bubbles and gives you a more stable whipped cream. So this is a way to get your whipped cream done ahead of time. It's gonna stay perfect. Perfect for backyard barbecues if you're doing like a strawberry shortcake or this pie. All right, give that a whip just until it's nice and beautiful. I'm gonna go check on this strawberry situation. It's coming up. Starting to get to a boil. Now, once it gets clear, this is not quite ready, but once it's clear, you'd add in a little bit of that vanilla bean paste just to give that vanilla flavor through to the strawberries. I have got some here, though, that is nice and cooled. It looks like the world's thickest jam. If you're making jam and it looks like this, you've done jam wrong, but you've done this pie right, so that's a good thing. So into there, I'm gonna go in with the rest of those berries. So that's about 4 cups of those beautiful fresh berries. Pop those in. And just give that a bit of a fold to combine. So it's nice and jammy, it's all gonna stick together. Every single bite is gonna be like strawberry heaven, which is a dream. Then all you need to do is take this and pop it into that prepared pie shell. So just scrape it right on in, pile it high. This pie reminds me, anyone in Oshawa, Ontario right now knows what I'm talking about? There is a diner and they do a fresh strawberry pie and you cannot see it because of the amount of whipped cream on top. And it is the most delicious pie in the world. So this is my homage to Teddy's Diner in Oshawa. So there you go. All right, once that's done, pop that in the fridge for about 3 hours just to firm up. Then you're gonna end up with something that looks like this. Oh my gosh, very exciting. And then all you need to do is top that. Like, look at that. Top that off with that stable whipped cream. We've got a bowl here. Like, look at that whipped cream. I'm holding it on its side and it's not falling out. That is some stable whipped cream. So just pop that right on top. Give it a bit of a spread. If you want, you could even pipe this if you're feeling it. We're going big though. I'm just spreading this out. Again, piped would be absolutely beautiful. Give that a slice. Oh my gosh. The fresh strawberries is such a great way to celebrate the taste of the season. It's just summer in a plate. I'm so excited. That beautiful pastry is really nice and tender, not overly flaky. Let's get that out. First slice is always the hardest, so let's see how it goes. Let's see. Not too shabby. That is a Teddy's amount of whipped cream. All right. I'm gonna take a bite because I just made a pie and I'm feeling good about it.
Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.